Hello and welcome back to the Apprentice 1-to-1 podcast. This is episode 3 on our week-long series of National Apprenticeship Week 2024, where the theme is skills for life. I'm trying to dig into how to support and help people looking to enter industry from scratch, be that school leavers, retrainees and such. And hopefully this little series of episodes is going to be useful. As I've mentioned in episodes 1 and 2, there is loads of free resources out in industry. The Electrical Careers website from TESP, again, I'll link that alongside this series. Please do check it out. It's full of enormous data from what you actually need to look at to enter industry, down to testimonials of people who've gone through it. Everything is on there. It's absolutely fantastic. There is huge resources totally free of charge over on YouTube as well. You've got the powerhouses that are eFix with their Apprenticeship Academy and all of their CPD and training. Gary and Joe more widely on their own YouTube channels as well, really set out lots of data and detail in how to qualify, some of the technical stuff you need to know. Those guys are superstar teachers at the end of the day, and also some of the tips and tricks to actually get into industry. So this is nothing new. This has been done to death before, but I am trying to collate it into my little effort to support National Apprenticeship Week in the Skills for Life drive. And there will be some giveaways running through the course of this week. So if you've not checked out my socials on Instagram and Twitter in particular, they're well worth checking out. So that's Apprentice1-to-1 on Instagram and electrician_247 on Twitter, because we may have some toolkits that have been sent out to people looking to enter the electrical industry. However, let's get into the content of this particular episode, and that is what to expect day to day as an apprentice or trainee. Sometimes you don't know what you don't know. So you look at this coming into industry. Obviously, I've been in this industry now since 1997, so it's a long old time. And I know day to day what it is, and you take it as second nature that everybody else knows. But as a 16-year-old, I was absolutely clueless as to what goes on day to day working out on site and the things to expect. So I thought in this one we'd delve into that a little bit. And things have changed from the times of 1997 even to today. There's a video that I've seen recently pop up on, I think it was on a YouTube short, where they were doing some maintenance of Big Ben in the 1980s, and some guy just dropped over onto a little swing seat off the side where he's doing whatever work he's doing, and he's got a TV presenter up there as well who's gone and done the same. And you just look at that and you think there is absolutely no way that they would probably be even allowed to walk up there without harnesses on, never mind climb over the side freehand onto a swing seat. So things have changed, and for very good reason. These changes are often brought about because something has happened. It's well worthwhile paying attention to that, and health and safety is going to be a big part of your day-to-day working in the electrical industry. We've got the battle scars of the past to do with asbestos and electric shock, and these things are primarily the focus of our efforts day to day. There's all the basic side of things to do with vibration, noise, dust, getting stuff in your eyes and things. But as an electrician or anybody in the construction space, asbestos, electric shock are the big ones that we're trying to avoid. You know, you have the working at height side of things as well. Slips, trips and falls are the biggest cause of injury in any workplace. But as a unique element of what we do, I'd say that's what it is. So yeah, health and safety. You will generally be given inductions if you go to work on any site, where they will run through those processes. There'll be risk assessments, which are basically where a supervisor will analyse a work task and scale it on risk and set appropriate processes and mechanisms in place to ensure that they can be done safely. And that then falls back to a method statement, which is basically a description of how you carry out a task. And as an apprentice, you'll be given this information to review and understand and make sure that you know what you've been asked to do and the way you've been asked to do it. So don't just think that they're tick boxes. Lots of people go to their inductions and they'll just sit there and sign the form at the end. It's really important you read those things. What PPE do you need to be wearing? What tools and equipment do you need to be wearing? Do you need to be in a team? You certainly will be as an apprentice. You shouldn't be asked to be doing any lone working. That's for sure. So, yeah, health and safety side of things. Generally, there's a base layer that you will need to wear. Most of the sites will want you in a high-vis and a hard hat. If you're working out in the domestic space with somebody, it's a little bit more loose than that, because you're generally working in someone's home. You'll have steel toe caps. You'll wear your goggles and glasses, ear defenders and a mask when you're doing specific work tasks. And it forms a big part of your training as well. The first kind of year or so, I would say, is focused very much in the health and safety side of things and getting that drummed into you from an early doors side of things. There's then the physical graft. Working out in industry as an electrician is hard work. We have to carry around lots of tools and equipment. There is the materials we work with. They can be large and heavy, so your trays, your trunkins, your distribution boards, these things are big and bulky. So manual handling is an important side of things. Your gloves, obviously, because of that, and you will work up a sweat. So you need to be prepared to work hard. Generally, as the apprentices in the team, you will be among the more younger and fitter variety of employees, so you may be finding yourself doing lots of the running backwards and forwards from the work van, for example. You will be moving containment around, and it's a necessary evil, if you like, that you go through that process. The people who are instructing and guiding you have been there, done it, got the t-shirt and had that themselves. That's kind of your job, your work role. You're not just there as the lackeys to do non-stop carting about with stuff. It shouldn't be like that, but there is elements of physical graft where you will need to do that. You'll be sweeping up at the end of the day as well. Tidiness and cleanliness on site is really important, and it's a big thing to build into your apprenticeship. If you find yourself where you've finished what you're doing and your mentor's maybe busy with something and you don't necessarily want to disturb them, don't stand around and hang about lurking in the background. Pick up a broom, sweep up, tidy up, sort out the materials that may be around and the tools that are around. Be proactive in doing that. But yeah, it is hard work. You are going to have to expect to work hard. You could also be travelling around. So this is the other thing where a traditional job role, you may have an office that you go and work in, you may have a factory, a warehouse, whatever. When you're working as an electrician, the jobs don't tend to stay in the same place. You know, even if you're working in a local area, you will still cover different workplaces. So they'll be running around in the van, going off to wholesalers, travelling about, picking up bits and pieces. And you may go through a number of jobs each day. If you're working in the maintenance industry, for example, where you're on call-outs, you could attend 5 or 6 different properties in a single day doing that. So travel is going to be a big part of that. Day release to college. So 1 day a week, you will be paid by your employer to go to college. The employers pay for that time, something that's often forgotten, but that's kind of our contribution towards your training, along with paying a certain amount to the college towards the training costs as well. So employers aren't just taking a free ride of you, they're contributing to your training. So you'll get paid to go off to college 1 day a week, where you'll be given some more in-depth classroom technical training, if you like. I try to look at the apprenticeship in 2 different ways. You get a lot of the on-site training with your employer. They should really be giving you that experience and opportunity to develop and grow. And then you go off to the college 1 day a week to take in some of the stuff you might need to know around the specifics of certain regulations, design and such, and the science and principles, all those kind of things. So it breaks it apart. It's not quite as simple as that, but that's roughly kind of what to expect. You'll traditionally work around 8 hours a day. Some companies will work 12-hour shifts. It really does depend on your employer, but that's sort of what you're looking at. You get a lunch break, a morning and afternoon break for a coffee or whatever. It depends how relaxed your employer is. I know with my guys, they can go off and get drinks, coffees whenever they like, and then we try and stop for half hour to an hour over lunch, depending on how busy we are. And again, we're usually job and knock, so if we get finished, the day ends early, and sometimes as a trade-off for that, you may end up working a little bit later. The thing to remember is that overtime is overtime, so you will be getting paid extra for that. You can do time in lieu arrangements, and you might have a bit of flexibility and fluidity with your employer on that basis. But yeah, that's sort of what you're looking at. 8 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Obviously, there's night shifts as well, so it may not be as simple as that for your employer, but most apprenticeships are kind of set on that principle. So yeah, rock up to a workplace, jump in the van with your mentor, go off to site and do some physical hard graft. Ask lots of questions. That's your opportunity to take in knowledge and tips from those people who have got the battle scars of the past and all of the experience. They may be busy and trying to get through the day and complete their work tasks, but most people will give you that time eventually. So if you're asking a question and someone's in the middle of changing a distribution board, and they might just be like, I really need to concentrate on this for the minute, but I've logged that in the database, we'll come back to it later in the van, I will answer you. That's not them dismissing you, it's just kind of trying to focus on what's important in the here and now. Sometimes you end up in those spaces, especially when you're on fault finding. So yeah, don't be afraid of asking the questions, even if you don't get the answers immediately all the time. And then yeah, that's kind of it. It really does vary on your employer, specifically what you will be going through. But that's kind of it. 4 days a week, out on site, running around doing electrical work, making terminations, installing care containment. There'll be lots of power tools, chopping, drilling. So you need to get familiar with those. You'll be given all of that training by your employer there, and the tool side of things for me is the most interesting and exciting. So don't be scared of power tools. Learn how to use them safely. Same with hand tools. I absolutely love it. Tools are the best bit about being an electrician for me, the test gear and the tools. So don't fear that. Embrace it. I think we've overrun again on our little 10-minute goal there, but that was kind of an effort to describe what to expect day to day as an electrician. And if you do want to go off and see bits of that, there is my YouTube channel, Mark the Sparky Ellison, where I do try and share what's and all what goes on day to day out on site, so you can see what we've been up to. And again, there's all of the stories on the Apprentice 1-to-1 podcast, digging back through time, where you can have a little listen. And there's the huge resource of other people's content all over the internet, in specific YouTube. So there's all the big YouTubers who really do industry proud with the level of stuff they do share. Sometimes they get criticism based on some of the working activities, but I think we should all relax a little bit on that and just think of how they might be helping other people alongside helping themselves as well. It's fantastic. So go off and dig into YouTube and search all those guys and girls and watch what they get up to day to day, because that'll give you a better understanding of anything I could tell you sat here right now. We're going to leave that one there. If you've got any questions, please do drop them in below. And as I said at the start of this podcast, these are all aimed at helping celebrate the Skills for Life theme of this year's National Apprenticeship Week. I do hope these are useful. Apologies to the regular audience who like to listen to the guys chatting with me and the guest episodes. Those will be back as normal very, very soon. But this is just my little effort to try and help support this initiative through the course of the week. And I will see you all on the next one. So you've been listening to the Apprentice 1-to-1 podcast, and a huge shout out to our supporters and sponsors. And they are Team IMD, which is Proteus, Tamlex, Centaur, M2, and others in that group, LK Energy Switches and Controls, Modexsoft Electrical OM, Klein Tools and Superrod, Test Instrument Solutions, aka TIS, and the Installer Trades Installer Show group. We massively appreciate that support, and thank you very much. We hope you enjoyed this week's show.